All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So the breaking news is Cain Velasquez has had his bail denied, and there's a lot more to this story than that, though. A lot more. Because we got to hear from the victim and what his injuries are and how he's going to play it, which obviously is going to matter because he's going to testify in the, he just spoke at, I don't know what you call it when you have like the victim speak at a bail hearing, but he did that. And obviously he's going to testify in the trial if it goes to trial. And so now we know how he's going to play it because he made that very clear. And his injuries are more severe than I knew, certainly. But also the judge has made a statement that I think needs to be evaluated, seriously evaluated. I mean, there's nothing you could do. They're the judge, but like she conjured up logic that does not belong, like straight up doesn't belong. And I'm not like, I'm obviously biased, but it's, to be perfectly honest with you, I just did this video. I shot a 20-minute video, and at minute 18, when I was talking, I just stumbled on it, and where I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, all right, I got to do this entire video over. So we'll talk about all that. Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. I'm going to try to do like something that's not so serious later today. I feel like I've been doing serious videos a lot. So shout out to Nolan King on Twitter. He is MMA_Kings. He did a great job. He was doing like live updates from the trial. So I'm going to read this to you. All right. So defense attorney Mark Garagos tells Judge Shalina Brown that Velasquez is willing to pay $1 million bail, partake in electronic monitoring, and or have a supervisor with him at all times. So he's like, I'll literally have a babysitter with me. I'll pay $1 million, ankle bracelet, babysitter. Aaron French, the DA, argues money won't prevent the victims from danger, says nothing is new from the original request for bail, which was denied. Galarte's stepfather, Paul Bender, the man Velasquez allegedly shot, is expected to speak via video call. Garagos, that's Cain's attorney, responds by bringing up Galarte and the accused molestation. Judge Shalina Brown quickly intervenes and says that she is not overseeing that case. The issue today is very narrow. So, translation, I don't care why he did this. That's what she's saying. I don't care why he did this. DA attorney French arguing against Garagos' proposed bail stipulations again. Look at the things that Cain is willing to do. This is different than a murder case where the victim is still there and still alive. Paul Bender is speaking now, so the victim. Bender says Velasquez severed his brachial artery and nerve, causing damage to 3 fingers on his right hand. He is no longer able to work, he says. Cain Velasquez has no respect for human life. I am fearful for my life as well as the lives of my family. The official request from the Velasquez defense, summarized by Judge Brown, says TBI and potential CTE caused Velasquez to potentially act impulsively. Judge Shalina Brown denies Cain Velasquez's bail and says the court is not ruled by community opinion at all. It is ruled by the law. Okay, so I'm going to lead off with the point that I stumbled on at the end because it's important before I even get into the injuries and how this guy's going to play it, etc. Okay, so let's just jump right into the statement that the judge made. She denies bail and says the court is not ruled by community opinion at all. It is ruled by the law. Okay, cool. So go ahead and point me to the law that says that a guy has to sit in jail while he's waiting for his trial if he hasn't been convicted yet. Go for it. Just show it. Just show it to me. Just show me where that's written down. Because I'm pretty sure that the only reason that you can deny bail is if the person is a risk of fleeing or there's a risk to like attacking or killing witnesses. Okay. So you are saying you are not swayed by public opinion because the law is not on your side. The law is not on your side. You would have to say specifically that you think that he's going to try to do this again. And maybe she said that and it's not listed. But if she didn't specifically say that, if she didn't specifically say, I owe, this child molester and his stepfather the protection from this crazed psychopath, so I need to deny bail. If she said that, at the least, it would be on her side. The logic side would be on her side. But we're doing the law. You're not doing the law. No, you're not. There's no reason to not give a person bail unless you're afraid for the witness or you think he's going to flee. You think he's going to run from his family? He's not, obviously. So I think that's an important point to make, is that the law is not on your side unless, and she's making a judgment call. He offered to have a babysitter with him. Anyway, so let's get into what the victim said, right? So he says that his brachial nerve was severed. He can't use 3 fingers on his right hand. In all honesty, I don't know why I thought this, but for some reason, I thought that he got hit and it was like super minor. You know, I mean, I guess if you get shot, you know, just losing, you know, not being able to use 3 fingers is relatively mild, but it's not nothing. You know, it's not nothing. You get shot in the arm, get an artery severed, and you have them put you back together. You can't use 3 fingers on your right hand. I mean, that's not nothing. So, I mean, if you're going to be unbiased, you do at least have to acknowledge that this isn't like an incident where there's no impact to anyone, you know? Like there's no, and believe me, I am firmly on the side of Cain should have gotten bail, obviously. So don't, you know, but like I like to look at things from all angles, and it's like this guy, I feel bad for this guy. Honestly, I don't like that he's like, oh, he has no concern for human life. Shut the fuck up, guy. Okay. If he had no concern for human life, he probably would have shot more times than 4 rounds at you guys, you know, would be my guess. And also, anyway, I mean, I guess if somebody shot me, I would, who knows? I don't know how I would handle it. But I honestly feel bad for this guy because it's the guy's stepfather. You know, he probably is in love with some girl. You know, he marries her. She's got some shitbag son that they can't get rid of. He's like a bad stench in the house. It's like, hey, you think your fucking 42-year-old son's ever going to get his shit together? Or am I just going to send him to rehab for the fucking 13th time? You know? But he loves her too much. So he's just stuck with this fuck up that lives in his house molesting their kids. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he didn't know. You know, I'm sure he didn't know. So to me, that guy is a legitimate innocent in this thing that got hit. You know, I just so that I'm being clear on how I look at this, Galarte, on the other hand, you know what, I don't need, I'm sure you guys, you know, I'm wearing a shirt that says I'm comfortable with violence. I'm sure you can imagine what my thoughts on that guy are. But no matter how you look at it, full spectrum, not full spectrum, whatever, now we know that when he testifies in the trial, if it goes to trial, he's going to try to bury Cain. Which now makes me take everything that I just said and makes me want to tell him to go fuck himself. Hey, what if someone molested your kid, dude? You know? Like, I get it, you got shot. Have you not seen the movie A Time to Kill? Have you seen the movie A Time to Kill, dude? Have you? You know, in the final scene. For those of you who haven't seen that movie, I would highly suggest that you go watch it. It's fucking awesome. You got a black father in like the old, in Mississippi. Man, this scene is so amazing too. He's like this black father in old Mississippi, and these 2 redneck KKK fucks kidnap this little girl, and they rape her and they beat her, and like, you know, she survives. They think that they threw her on the side of the road. They thought she's dead, and she survives. And this racist court in Mississippi lets them go. And so the father comes in and he shoots and kills both of them, and he accidentally hits this white what do you call it, bailiff or whatever that was there, like shoots him, and he like ends up like, I don't know, I think he's in like a wheelchair or something. And like the very final scene, he's the last guy that testifies. So he's literally equivalent. He is Galarte's stepfather in this story. You know, it's like, it's basically a nearly identical situation. The court, well, at least how Cain saw it, the court turned this guy loose, and they put the guy on the stand, and they're like, what do you think should happen? And he's like, you turn him loose. It's fucking amazing. And then they let the guy go. That's the thing that everybody really needs to like, to like really understand, is no matter how fucked this situation seems, where you got this judge who's trying to make a point, you know, we will not be swayed by public opinion. Good for you, dude. Well, guess what? You know who gets to decide his fate? The community, you know? Community opinion is what decides his fate. So like, you can have the exact details of this case laid out exactly as they happen. Depending on who is on the jury is going to determine what he gets convicted of. You know, like, just plain and simple. They don't have to explain why they're not going to convict him of attempted murder and they decided manslaughter is a better charge. They don't have to explain that. And if I'm extraordinarily skeptical that you're going to get a majority. I mean, I don't know though. Like, I don't know. I hear people saying crazy shit on people that I would have assumed would have had Cain's back on this, say shit online that I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, really? You think you should go to jail, huh? Like, you think you should do a long bid in jail? You really think that, huh? But I would imagine when, there's a more sympathetic version of Cain painted in the court, there's a high likelihood that he doesn't get convicted of the big one. Because here's the thing. I also read this article in yesterday or the day before by a former prominent defense attorney or whatever. And they were like, they said Cain threw his life away. That's how they described this. They're like, dude, it doesn't matter why he did this. Like, this is a cut and dry case. He's going down. And I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that, dude. And I'm not an expert in the legal system. I'm an expert in people. And I'm telling you, you put all these people in the box and they are aware of public opinion. That's the thing. That's how you knew the George Floyd cop, he had no chance, dude. Like, he had no chance. I mean, I'm not getting into the details of that case one way or the other. But like, you think that like the public opinion wasn't going to sway their vote at all? I mean, that's the ultimate example. But if the jury feels like there is an overwhelming amount of support for Cain, they're going to have to go against all of their human programming to align with social pressure and just go, nope, fuck him. Send him to jail. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the judge she made clear from the very beginning. From the very beginning, she's like, he's a danger to society. She said that remember in the first video that I did, and I was like, that's not good, man. That is not good at all. But anyway, I think that this is wrong, dude. And also, here's the other thing, dude. Like, how you view this case, of course, is going to be influenced by your own life. Like, in my case, it's like, I have 3 daughters, dude. One of them is 4. He's got a 12. I've got a 10-year-old daughter, or almost 10. His daughter just turned 13. Let me just rewind. So I was about to fly to Cancun a few weeks ago. I was at the airport, right? Literally at the airport. I was in one of those airport stores, and we were like picking out like snacks for the kids before we got on this plane to Cancun, where we're going to an all-inclusive resort for 7 nights. And Instagram hit me with like this post that Cain had made because it was his daughter's 13th birthday. And it was a picture of him with his daughters. Man, that kicked me in the dick, man. I was just like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm sitting here with like my whole family. We're about to go to Cancun, not worry about shit, like drink booze, like, all inclusive. And like, this fucking guy's sitting in a cell, man. And that's the other thing. Not just sitting in a cell, not like sitting in a cell with total uncertainty that he's ever going to be able to like hug his daughter before she's like a grown up again, And here's the thing, dude, like, when you're in a situation like that, like a dire situation, a really, really hopeless, potentially hopeless situation, and you see a glimmer of hope, you hold on to that thing like it is, the only thing between you and oblivion. And I promise you that this bail hearing was that for him. In jail, like, or prison or whatever. I mean, I realize it sounds ridiculous because it's in the movie Shawshank, but I know it to be true. I've never been to jail or prison, but I know that, like, it's just, believe me, I know that if you tie too much hope to anything, it can kill you because you got nothing else. You start looking at a bail hearing and you go, oh man, please, 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 please. And it doesn't go your way. It's like the whole thing happening again, all of it. It's dangerous to have hope, dude. And I bet you that his attorneys are telling him, like, I think we got a good chance at this. So for it to go the other way, he's probably devastated right now. Devastated. And it's fucking wrong, dude. Again, like, in all honesty, dude, actually, I'm not going to make this promise. I was going to say, if he goes to trial and a jury of his peers convict him, I'll just accept it. I won't. I'll bitch about it for sure if that happened. It should be mandatory that everyone on the jury is a father. You know, it's a jury of your peers, right? You said a jury of your peers. Okay. Well, that person doesn't have kids. They don't know what the fuck they're looking at, dude. They don't know what the fuck they're looking at. If you don't have kids, how could you be considered a peer in this situation? Well, the reason he did it doesn't matter. Fuck you, it doesn't. Yeah, right. It doesn't? So like, you know, so like if the dude would have cut him off in traffic and he just pulled out a gun and started just shooting at them and he hit the guy, severed his brachial nerve or whatever, or his artery, that's the same. It doesn't matter why. We're ruled by the law. All right. So if, I don't know. So if Cain would have walked up on that guy in the process of beating one of his kids to death, and then the guy jumped into his car, and then Cain chased him and shot him, that would be no different. That'd be no different than if the guy gave him the finger while they're driving. It's the same. It's all the same, dude. It's all the same. Of course it matters why he did it. This judge is like, I don't like this judge. And I'm not saying, like, again, I said this before. I'm not trying to, like, I'm not suggesting anybody does anything stupid or harass any of that stuff. Nothing like that. I'm not suggesting, as a matter of fact, I'm telling you for 100% sure, you couldn't do anything to hurt Cain worse than if you fucked with the judge or the DA or any of that. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. But in terms of her approach here, I do not agree with it. I don't agree that, you know, she says, oh, she's denying bail because she's governed by the law, not by community opinion. Right. And where in the law does it say that you can't grant someone bail in between their arrest and when they're going to be, you know, when they go to trial? There's no law for that. It's up to you. Cain's not going anywhere. He's not going to flee. So you would have to believe that he's going to try to kill these guys again. And if you're not saying that, then you're talking nonsense. And she called him a danger to society. Dude. He responded to someone who victimized his kid. The guy didn't cut him off in traffic. It does matter why. Of course it matters why. So, again, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be some kind of offer that gets slid in front of Cain and Garagos, etc. That's going to be, this is what always happens. They'll say, we'll offer you 12 years. You know, you plead guilty to blah, blah, blah. You get 12 years with good time. You get out in 10. You know, like the offer that he gets from the DA to avoid trial is not going to be 2 years. It's not. It's going to be a long time. His daughter will be in her 20s. And I am not in a position to suggest what he does. I'm not in a position to suggest what he does because the implications of it going the wrong way are too great, you know? But I will say this. If it were me on that jury, and this should go without saying, there is nothing anyone could say that would sway me into convicting him of a crime that would carry heavy time. Nothing. I don't care if all 11 other jurors, you know, doubled as special forces guys or the best attorneys in the world. You're not going to get me to do that vote. Never. I will never do it. And I find it hard to believe that you're going to get 12 people who don't feel enough like I do, you know, for him to have a good chance of walking away from this thing, at least with, you know, a few years and not, you know, over a decade. But this dude, I mean, man, the stepfather with that shit, man. It's like, I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know his relationship with his stepson. It's possible they're really, really close and he actually believes him. It's possible. It's possible that he believes this, that the stepson's like, I never did any of this, dude. I really didn't. I never did any of this. It's a 4-year-old. The kid doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, wouldn't there be other accusers? Wouldn't there be blah, blah, blah? And you don't know who this stepfather is, dude. Maybe he honestly believes him. Or maybe he's just doing what his wife told him because he's been pussy whipped from the jump. And that's why he's got a 42-year-old, stepson living in his house, diddling kids. I just try to think about these things from all angles. All I know is that there is no angle that's going to get me to chastise Cain for doing what he thinks is protecting his kids. A society needs to run on rules. You have to have rules. You have to have rules. You have to have laws. But there are things that supersede laws. Now, if like a society is set up and they forget to work in there a clause that is like, if you're protecting your children, bets are off, And obviously you can't have that in there because it's all up in interpretation. You just start clipping guys. You're all, hey, this guy said he was going to kill my kid. They're all, he did? You're all, yep, he did. And they're all, why did he say that? They're all, I don't know. He's a psycho. Thank God I shot him, huh? Thank God I put 2 in his noodle. He'll never be able to threaten another kid. Did anyone else see this? Yeah, my kid. How old is the kid? He's 1. Tell him. He doesn't speak English yet, but so you can't put it into law like that. But in a situation like this, where you have documentation, you know what happened. His kid, you think Cain and his wife are that, kids say all kinds of crazy stuff, dude. You think that they can't tell if he's telling them something real, and they go to the cops. The cops question him. They get the guy arrested. The guy gets arrested, and then they just let him out. Cain doesn't know why. Again, I will say this again. My absolute firm bet is that Cain was sitting on the guy's house. I will bet you he was sitting on the guy's house. And I bet you he was sitting on the guy's house contemplating whether to beat the fuck out of the guy. And he probably just brought a gun because that's a crazy situation. I mean, are you guys, this is an MMA channel. Are you going to tell me that if somebody molested your kid and then was out walking around that you wouldn't? I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I'll tell you guys a true story. So my wife's mom, my wife had a tough go at it growing up. Okay. So my wife's mom was a flight attendant. She's from the UK. She's, you guys see Gabrielle. She looked like her, except blonde when she's younger. She kind of lived like a jet setter lifestyle. She never got married. She kind of jumped around, whatever. And then when she was 40, she met a dude, very charming, lots of money, an Italian dude from New York. He bought her all kinds of stuff. He got her knocked up. They moved in. She's like, I'm settling down. She had Gabrielle when she's 42. And then when Gabrielle was 6 or 7 months old, all of a sudden they're moving across the country and they shot from New York to Palm Springs with no explanation, right? And then after living in Palm Springs for 6 months, they moved down the street, moved out of the house they were in to another house, down the street. Super, super bizarre. And then he got arrested because he's a connected guy in New York, and he had fled from, one of a number of things that he was doing up there. This charming Italian guy, you're not going to believe this, had connections to organized crime. So he's been in jail Gabrielle's entire life, her entire life. He was out for I don't know, 6 months or something, right around when we got married. He said he sent us a set of pans. That's his contribution to Gabrielle's life. But so, Gabrielle's mom she got remarried, then her stepdad died after a couple of years. She's been on her own her whole life. Scrapping, dude. Scrapping. No stability her entire life. Gabrielle's life or her life. And a few years ago, she was getting her kitchen remodeled. A spend that, because I always knew that eventually I'd be taking care of her, and when it got kind of close, I would look and be like, why does she want, and Gabrielle's I don't know. She really wants to get the kitchen remodeled. So she got the kitchen remodeled, right? Or she finds this guy who says he's going to do it for whatever. So she gives him money. Long story short, this guy completely scammed her, like got her to pay up for all kind, like stuff that, stuff that in hindsight, I would have seen coming a mile away, but got her to pay. I mean, he juked her out of like $7,000 or $8,000, and the guy lived in Palm Desert. I knew exactly where. I knew who he, I didn't know him, but like figured out who he was. Turned out he had been doing this. It's like a scam he was doing. He was scamming old people, telling them, they do remodels, getting them to pay, and then he would disappear, right? And he's just living out in the open, He's just living out in the open, just steal their money, and there's nothing, the cops won't do anything really. So I knew where he lived. And, I didn't live down there. And I can tell you this now, because now he went to jail. But my plan was I was going to go to his house and I was going to burn his fucking car. Like I was actually going to do this. Like I didn't do it. I don't think it's a crime against planning things. I was going to gasoline his car and I was going to fucking burn it. I was going to firebomb his car because I found out he was living at like his brother's house and, he's taking this money. He's just like a gambling addict doing drugs and shit. And I'm like, oh, so the only thing he has in the world is the car. Yep. Cool. Well, I'm going to fucking burn it then. And I was going to burn his car. 100%. And that's a guy that stole $5,000, $6,000 from my wife's mom. Like stole $5,000 or $6,000 from my wife's mom. And I was going to firebomb his fucking car. Now, I'm obviously not like, you're not like me. Like me, dude. You not like me. But so, like when I tell you I have every intention of doing it, like I mean that. I was going to do that. And I could tell you because I didn't, I didn't do it. But to try to imagine what I would do if someone molested my kid and then was walking around outside of jail just chilling. Yeah. I mean, him sitting on the house doesn't surprise me. Not even a little bit. And I would imagine if he's sitting out there during daytime, he's probably just sitting there and he doesn't really know what he's going to do. He's got the gun just in case shit goes sideways. He doesn't know. But like, then the guy, that's how you explain the car chase. That's how you explain the car chase, because he's sitting on the house. He's in his car. If you're going with even the moderate possibility that you might physically attack a guy, especially at his own house where that there's a likelihood that other people have guns, you would just bring it. Now, I'm not suggesting that anyone do this stuff. Like I didn't do it. Like I'm just saying, like I didn't firebomb his car. And Cain clearly should not have done this. But you can see it. And then the guy just comes walking out with his stepdad like, Lee-loo, Lee-loo, Lee-loo. Lee-loo, Lee-loo, Lee. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, let's go get the ankle bracelet. Geez, these legal people and their ankle bracelets. We better go get it, though. Let's do it. High five. And then they drive by him, and Cain's like, yeah, no. Nope. And he snapped. Anyway, the CTE thing, I don't understand. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a good argument. I don't know. Like, I guess for like temporary insanity or like, why'd he do it, whatever. But that makes me feel like it's like he's not in, like, I mean, obviously the whole argument that you'd give is that he was not responsible for his decision making at the time. And so you do temporary insanity, whatever it is. But like the CTE thing, that almost makes it kind of like, well, maybe he would do it again. Like maybe he would do it again. I don't know. Logically, I like the the extenuating circumstances where like just like the guy snapped, right? Like because of this one thing that would never happen again. Not I have a brain issue and I might snap again. You know what I mean? That's just me though. What the fuck do I know? Anyway, that's what I got. I don't know. Let me know if you guys like these long form ones. I'm doing these on purpose because the podcast is en route very, very shortly. And these long ones are obviously going to be podcast episodes. So anyway, love you guys. Peace.